Hi, this is Miss Wright, and I am going to go over another written response organizer. This one is called PEEL with 5 E's. And I want to thank Mrs. Whelan, who teaches English, for sharing. And she is in the UK, and you can type in her name and PEEL, and you can see her demonstrating how to use this organizer. She is preparing students for their national exams in the UK. But once again, I find that this organizer can be used throughout the year and that it can help you to write a better, more in-depth, and thorough response if you are given a prompt in class. So, PEEL, it actually started as PEEE in the lower grades, but by the time you get to middle school, it becomes PEEL, and it's point, explain, elaborate, give evidence, give examples, and link. It's also here as point, explanation, example, and link. And this is what you would do in each paragraph. You would make your point, which is your topic sentence. You would give an explanation. You would give specific examples and maybe some quotes from the prompt. And then you would link this topic sentence to another part of the book, to the author's purpose, to the themes, to show insight. And we've been working on showing insight all year. Here it is again. So you make a point, 1 point per paragraph, and that would be your topic sentence. You're going to explain, you're going to give evidence. Here, they're asking you to evaluate, give a judgment onto the quality of the author's ideas. Show that objectivity, that you realize that this is not a true story, but these are characters created by an author for a purpose, and then link that to the question, but you can also link to the themes, to the author's purpose, even to other works. Okay, so here it is, a breakdown of PEEL, and we just used this in my class yesterday. And my 8th period class definitely said that it helped them to uh, do a better, more in-depth examination of the prompt that they were given from Romeo and Juliet. So I do recommend it, and I did send Miss Whelan a thank you for sharing, because I think that's just so generous and wonderful that there are so many teachers willing to share. So here you're going to make your point. The P is for point, E, first E is for evidence, second E for explain, third E for explore, um, the fourth one for expand, and the fifth one for evaluate, and then link. And this is how Mrs. Whelan has really taken that concept of PEEL and stretched it out so that you can do even more and go into more depth. And this actually works for writing 2 paragraphs instead of 1, 2 or more instead of 1. So you're going to make your point about something the author is doing, and that's your main idea. That would be your topic. You're going to find some evidence, find small relevant quotes to support your point. So look back at the prompt that you've been given and find evidence. If you've been given an excerpt from the book, then annotate that excerpt and highlight or underline keywords, phrases that you want to definitely include in your response. If it's only a question that you've been given, then you kind of got to think back on the book. What are some specific quotes that you might remember off the top of your head, or scenes, events that you can remember that you can point to? Explain the quotes in relation to your point. Offer another interpretation. This is where my students were like, what's going on? Yes. Now, once you've looked at the the prompt or the excerpt from one perspective. In this version of PEEL, you're being asked to go back again and to look at it from another perspective, to be a divergent thinker, to come up with another possible interpretation of this prompt, and to zoom in on keywords that will help you give another interpretation. So now you have to kind of think outside the box. You got your mind set on one thing in this area, but now they're saying explore, go beyond the obvious. What else can you read into this excerpt or this prompt that you didn't talk about the first time? What other perspective can you bring? Then find other supporting evidence for this new interpretation. Explain why this new interpretation is significant. And then before you finish, make connections to the themes, the writer's purpose or author's purpose. If you know the historical context and the historical context has relevance, then talk about that. Talk about the message of the piece, the big ideas in the piece. Show a broader knowledge beyond the prompt. Link the prompt to the significance of the work as a whole. Okay? Then you're really cooking with gas. And this actually can be repeated if you need to do a third paragraph or a fourth paragraph. You can just go back and repeat this cycle again. Then I have remember to link everything to the poet or the author's point of view or purpose. That's from Mr. Salas. As you write, remember to acknowledge the author or poet and to discuss the work as something created for a purpose. That's called the author's purpose. The characters and events are artifice, created to make a point or explore a theme or themes that the author has in mind. So you definitely want to show that you have the ability to read closely, but then you also have the ability to pull back and be objective and see this as a work of art created by someone for a purpose. What is the purpose? Is it to make us more socially aware? Is it to point out some foibles in society? To say something about love? To say something about hate? To say something about violence? One of the many themes that might exist. What is this work saying, and what was the author's intent in creating this work? And then finally, why use this organizer or any organizers? Once you learn them, they can help you to stay focused under timed writing situations so that you can give the most thorough and insightful response. Built into the organizer is a process to force you to think deeply about the prompt. It reduces stress because now you feel in control. You have a structure. You go back to the PEEL and they say, okay, I studied PEEL, so I'm going to write down point. I'm going to find my first evidence. I'm going to explain my first evidence. Once I've done that thoroughly, I'm going to look for another important aspect that I can bring to this, bring out of this piece. And I'm going to expand on that by giving my supporting evidence. I'm going to evaluate by telling why these ideas of mine are of significance in terms of this prompt and even the work as a whole. I'm going to close by making connections to the major themes in this book beyond the prompt, or I'm going to talk about the writer's purpose, and if I know the historical background of this piece and if it's relevant to this prompt, I'm going to bring that in. So once you remember, I want to do prompt, I want to make my point, I want to provide evidence and explain, which is what we do when we write all the time. Then I want to go back. Is there more? Is there another interpretation? Can I think outside the box and find something fresh and new to say? Can I provide evidence for that? Can I talk about why it's significant? And then can I make connections to the themes, the purpose, the context? Now I'm really working at a high level. Okay? So that was my take on PEEEEL as a written response organizer. And I want to thank Ms. Whelan for sharing. What a wonderful, fabulous teacher. Lovely lady for sharing. And this has been my take on the organizer. And this one is dedicated to my Period 8 class. As always, you guys are awesome. Thank you for working really, really hard yesterday. And guess what? I will see you back in class. Bye-bye.